Hello Techies, welcome back to our channel UiPath by Sujitha. In this video, we are going to learn about parallel activity from UiPath Studio. Whenever there is a need to execute two or more child branches, that means two or more set of activities in same time, that means in parallel, executing at same time, then we can go with parallel activity. Let me give you clear usage. When to use. So whenever there is no dependency on other child branch, that means each child branch has its own independent process. No dependency, I mean to say resources are independent, right? Or we could say like applications might be different. Right? So ultimately, on a high level, we could say like each child branch has its own set of activities in order to achieve different activity. What to say? Different purpose, for different purpose. Let me share you the same through an example. Say for suppose, when I give an employee number, I should be able to get complete employee data. That means some basic information and the other, some my pay scale related data, my insurance related data, the awards or achievements from the project data, and say for example my educational background and my technical background. So all these kind of data. So if you could observe, say for example, basic information could be stored in one application, one database, right? And my insurance related data may be from the portal from insurance, the third party vendor, right? So that will be going to be from a different application. So another one, say for example, my project related achievements and all, that could be saved under some project related database. Also my educational backgrounds, all these may be from the HR, maybe some other different application, right? Say for example, success factors or one team, right? So all these queries could be queries or from different databases, right? So in such scenario, instead of doing it one after the other, say for example, first querying my basic information, later once after getting the basic information, again passing the same employee number in order to get my insurance details or the claims whatever been done so far, all this data using some other application, third party vendor. So next, instead of going from one after the other in a linear approach, since all these queries or can be executed in parallel, we can go for parallel activity. What is the use of going through this parallel activity? It is so simple, it is so straightforward. We can save the execution time as well as we can say like since there is no dependency on the resources which been used in each child activity, we can get the result faster. Say for example, once after executing all the three queries, maybe at fourth query it not be able to fetch the data. So instead of failing at end of the project, end of the execution, we can get to know it very fast, right? So all these kind of what to say, the non-dependent issues can be traced very early. So you will come to know about this when you start implementing parallel activity. On a high level, you just concentrate on using parallel activity whenever there is a need to execute different branches individually at same time. Okay, so let us consider an example. I'll show you how to use this parallel activity on a simple example. Say for I'm going to get the city details. So what I'm going to do is give city name. So user is going to give the city name. So can we get the details, say for example sightseeing places in that city? Okay, and then flight charges to that city, and then a distance. Okay, distance to that city. So these, if you could see, when we give the city name, the places, sightseeing, tourist places could be from the tourism application, right? This could be some different place from different website, and flight charges may be from different database, that means different website, and distance maybe we could use a Google map or something like that, right? So three different places we are querying, so each is individual to its own. In that scenario, we can utilize parallel activity. Just go to your parallel activity, go to your UiPath Studio. I just created a separate sequence for this and renamed it as get city underscore user. Let me use the same here and copy paste. Yes, as an annotation. As I insist you all the time, this is a best practice to create, to have annotation whenever it is needed. Okay, now let us use excuse me, input dialog to get the city name, okay, from the user. So just rename this. I'm going to rename this and provide the details. So get city select, I can say that get city details. Just for example, I'm going with only one city, so I'm keeping text box. Okay, so I'm going to capture this into str city. Okay, use control plus k as shortcut to create the variable. Now let me change the scope to, yeah, outer one, which is get city. Okay, fine, parallel activity demo. Now what I'm going to use is, just go to your activities panel and type parallel. You could get this parallel activity. Drag and drop. Run parallel. I'm just renaming this. Now what we are going to do is, instead of calling all those applications into this parallel activity, just for demo purpose, I'm adding an assign activity here. If you could see, as soon as I dropped an assign activity here, we could get two symbols here. That means we could see here or here, right? So in parallel, we can drag and drop. That means this is going to be one set of activity, and this is, let me add one log message. Let me add a sequence here. Then assign, and then log message, say for example log message, yes. Okay, similarly let me use the same here. Let me give a try whether it will accept. No, let me give one more sequence, one more workflow here. Yes, sequence, this is one more child, and I'm going to add some other activity, assign and log message. Okay, similarly you can have n number of multiple child sequences. It not only sequence, you could use some other workflows as well. Okay, so for now I'm going to just represent the parallel activity. So for that I'm going to repeat the same process here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, instead of using or calling different applications, I'm directly passing some value to the output. Say for example, I'm creating, here I'm going to get the fare details, flight details, flight fare. Okay, let me give this as int. Let me change the variable name. right? Okay, also the variable type and the scope. Okay, now see, for example, 20,000. Okay, sorry, this is going to be a, yeah, end. Fine. Now I'm going to, just for our information, inside flight fare child sequence. Okay, let me rename this sequence flight fare, just for our understanding. Let me consider this next sequence as, say, tourist places. Okay, fine. Similarly, give assign, use one more variable, say str tourist places, and I'm just passing random values, say say for example metropolitan museum, Central Park, Empire Building, etc. Okay, so these I'm giving. So here I'm going to use one more information log message that we are inside, yes, tourist places sequence. Okay, similarly I'm going to use one more sequence, that is for, what is the other one which we considered? Where is our annotation? Yes, sightseeing places. Oh, let me correct this as IGHT. Sightseeing places in the city, flight charges, distance. Yeah, distance. So instead of going to the Google Map or some other applications, I'm just passing a random value here. So Control K, because our scope of this video is not to concentrate on the application usage or the automation. It is to consider the parallel activity. Right now I'm going to use the distance. So randomly I could give some 2000. Okay, 20,000. I could say like 4,000. Okay, fine. Kilometers. Okay. So this is going to be your int, right? Okay, let me change the scope as well for the distance. Let me change this to str, and then, okay, fine. Let us consider this for now for understanding the parallel activity. Okay, now I'm going to, okay, let me keep this in 4,000. Save it. Information here, and then inside distance sequence. Rename this to distance sequence. Okay, fine. Now let me just show you this parallel activity. It has different branches, right? We created 3 branches. We can still, there is some place, right? Still we can add few more child branches. Okay, so remember this, all the child branches will start executing, will execute in parallel. Okay, in parallel. And remember, the most important point here is parallel activity completes its execution, only after executing, I say, all child branches. Okay, only after completing all the child branches this will come out. Okay, and execute the last one. Say, shall we add a log message here out of this parallel message? I could keep it here, where I'm going to just add city details or as below. Okay, now let me use environment.newline, okay, plus flight fare, I could say plus end flight fare dot toString, right? Similarly, let me add few more, that is, yeah, plus environment dot newline plus, what's the other one? Tourist places, sightseeing places, str. What is the variable which we used here? It is tourist places. Where is the tourist places? I think we have not changed the scope. That means it is not showing. Yeah, now it will reflect there. Okay, now let me go back to this str tourist places. Yep, see, these kind of issues we may face, these kind of mistakes we commit during our automation. New line plus, what kind of information we need at last? We need distance, right? Distance that is in str distance. Okay, so now what I am going to do is 4,000 kilometers, I can see. Now let us run this and let us understand the concept clearly. Okay, I hope you are following this. I hope you are practicing along with me. Just watching any video may not give you prompt information. You may forget after a few days. So just practice this whenever you get time, if you have no time now. So let us go to output panel. See, city details or flight charges, all this we got, right? Now, if you could see the messages inside flight fare child, that means the first one, right? Next tourist places, next distance, right? So all these executed in parallel once after the complete child activities, once after the child executions, then only parallel came out of this, right? So now what I am going to do is, for clear understanding, I am going to keep one delay activity. Let us see when this parallel is coming out. I am keeping a delay of, say for example, 0. That means, let me go back to this property. I am going to increase, oh no, 0, 0. I am going to use some 2 seconds delay here. Yeah, 0 to seconds. Okay. Similarly, I am going to keep some 1 second here. Okay. Now in the third one, I am going to keep some 5 seconds. Okay. Now let us see how it is going to work. Okay. Let me give 2, 1 and 5. Okay, fine. Let us see how it is going to work. It is asking for, I'm saying New York. Delays I kept for your better understanding. Now go back to your output and see inside tourist places. Where is this? Yeah. Let me increase this delays for more understanding here. So what I did, I have increased this for better understanding to 20, 10 and 5. So we could see the difference, okay. I kept 20 seconds, 10 seconds and 5 seconds. Now let me give a run. So when we executed without delay, it has executed in sequence, right? One after the other child execution, and once after completing all the child sequences, it has come out of the parallel activity, right? Now let us see how it is going to execute and how it is coming out of this, okay? So let me say Chicago. Since it is some 10-20 seconds, it might be taking some time. All these are just for your understanding, okay? So don't feel that it is like frustrating or time taking concept. Even though it is time taking, you could get the concept very well, okay? So now if you could see the log messages inside distance sequence. So first it has executed, right? Next, tourist places. Next, flight fare charges. But it came out of the complete parallel activity only after completing all these activities. That means you could see this message. On seeing this message, you could guess that it has not just came back out of this particular single sequence just after completing its execution. Rather, it has completed all the sequences, all child branches in parallel and came out once after successful completion of all these child activities, which resulted in these values 20,000, all these tourist places and 4,000. So don't get confused. The only agenda is to understand when to use the parallel activity whenever there is no dependency on the resources. That means whatever resources used in this branch should not be used in this. If you are using the resources or if you are going to modify the same, say for example in flight fare, if I am going to modify this here and this might be returning in a failure, right, which is not a prompt, which is not an apt value. So in such cases you should be very careful. Only if you are sure enough about the resources which been used. Say for example city, we are not going to change the city name in any of these child branches, right? In such scenario we can go for it. And for example the deposit amount, say for example when we are going to add some interest rate here and the same deposit amount we are going to change some, use in some other application, the data might be, value might be changing, right? So in such cases we should be very careful while using parallel activity. But scenarios like this, which is completely dealing with different applications, we can optimize the performance, we can optimize the execution time by using this parallel activity. I hope you got a clear understanding on this parallel activity. So a quick recap, parallel activity is nothing but a simple activity which enables us to execute two or more child activity branches at the same time. So when to use? When there is no dependency on the child branch operation, when resources are independent enough, and when we are dealing with different applications or different databases. Okay, thank you so much for your support so far. If you have any doubts or comments, or any suggestions on these videos, you can post through our comments box. Also, if you are new visitor to this video channel, please do subscribe our channel, and if you like the videos, give a like and share with your friends and colleagues. Thank you so much for the support so far. Meet you through our next videos. Until then, take care. Bye bye.